Okay, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Bonus Point. Today we have a nice, short, and simple episode. We're just gonna be doing a recap of the weekend, going through all of the games, and I basically gonna get all my thoughts in terms of FPL standpoint, at least, for all of the games. I hope that this helps you all. I know that we can't watch all the games. Most of us, at least, don't get to watch all the games on a weekend. Even myself, I don't get to watch all the games, but at least I could rewatch some. Look at some highlights and try to summarize these games for you all. And in the end of the day, watching the games is probably one of the most important parts of playing FPL. It's good to see the players perform, and that gives you a good idea of who to bring in for your team and who's on form and who's not, and who's playing well and who looks like they're going to get some form soon. Okay, so without further ado, let's just go straight into it. So this weekend started off on Friday actually with Newcastle playing against Leeds, and as we know, that finished off as a 1-1 draw. Honestly, I think that there were a lot of positives to take out of this game. The first half was a very exciting half of football. Let's start off with Newcastle. Saint-Maximin is a bright spark for that team. I think that if he's able to play like that on a consistent basis, he's going to be a fantastic asset to have. He actually adds himself into that list of cheap strikers, so he could be one to look out for as well. I know Newcastle have some good games coming up. So yeah, he could definitely be one to look at, and I think it only gets better for him and more positive for him when Callum Wilson comes back into the team, because as it is right now, he gave a few chances to Joe Linton, and well, we know that guy actually can't score goals, but at least Callum Wilson can, so he should be getting his assists up when he gets to work with Callum Wilson as well. But that guy is just such a fantastic dribbler and always seems to be high on confidence. He's a really, really good player and a really confident player, and the ball goes to him a lot in that team. And that ticks a lot of the boxes that I'm looking for in a player. So Alan Saint-Maximin definitely want to watch. And he was fantastic on the day, and he scored once and probably should have scored a few more times as well. And now looking on to Leeds, I have to say the same thing about Rafinha. I've been talking about Rafinha all season long, and he managed to score a goal, even though it was pretty lucky. To be honest, he probably should have had, well, definitely should have had more than one goal on the day. His finishing was not too good on the day. His decision making inside the box when it came to that end product was not too good. But that does not mean that he had a bad game at all. I think he had a pretty good game aside from the goals. He managed to create a lot of chances. We know that the ball goes to him a lot. Leeds love to play on his side of the field, and it just shows that that's the quality that he has, that the ball just needs to go on his side most of the times before it could get spread to anywhere else. He is basically that talisman, in my opinion, a lot much more important player than Bamford. And yeah, Rafinha definitely someone to look out for in the future for Leeds. He did manage to come off a bit early with a hip injury, but I think that that's an injury that he had prior to the start of the game. I think that the staff already knew that they weren't going to allow him to play more than 65-70 minutes, and they just took him off according to the game plan, basically. I won't really be too worried about that injury. I don't think that he aggravated it much during the game, and he should be good for next weekend. That's at least my opinion. I'm a doctor though. Finally, I'm going to say that these two teams cannot defend. So at least in the future coming up, if you know that you have someone playing against either Newcastle or Leeds, I think that could be a good captain to go out for, because these teams are all attack basically, both of them. The defense did not look good at all. There were chances galore on either end. And for FPL, I think that's a positive thing, because now we have some defenses to target. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for, to target. Alright, moving on to Saturday now. Bright and early Saturday morning, we started off with an L for Wolves. Wolves hosted Brentford, and Ivan Toney picked them apart on the day. Ivan Toney had a really good game. He scored a penalty, which just shows us that, I mean, shit, when you have penalties, you can just get goals out of nothing sometimes. And he managed to get an assist shortly after as well. I think Toney had a really good game, but he's still not someone that I would look to bring into my team. Brentford doesn't have some of the best games coming up, and just on a whole, Brentford's attack does not look too good. Wolves, on the other hand, now a lot of us went into their defense, and even I thought that their defense was going to be okay. I didn't expect it to be this bad. They did not look too good defensively on the day, giving up a lot of chances to Brentford. And I guess the fact that they went 1-0 down and they needed to attack more freely, yeah, it just opened up the defense a bit more. So you could take that maybe with a pinch of salt. Maybe their defense is still pretty good, and it just looked bad on the day. It could have been all circumstantial, but that's something that we're going to have to wait to see. for those who didn't use their wildcard yet, and if you plan on using it soon, maybe we switch our minds from targeting the Wolves defense, or maybe we just go for one defender instead of two. I know a lot of us wanted to double up on them. In terms of the Wolves attack, boy, like, they make so many chances, but they cannot finish. Adama Traore has no end product whatsoever, and that goes for crosses and for trying to get goals as well. His crosses were pretty bad on the day. He had a lot of good opportunities to put a good ball in, and he just did not. He would either overhit it or pick the wrong technique, and I think at the end of the day, if you're able to 5, 6, 7 crosses in and they're not hitting the target, it's down to you, and it's not so much down to the players making the runs off the ball. So yeah, I'll definitely blame Adama for that one. The same kind of goes for Trincao. Not much end product on that guy either, even though they managed to get themselves in good opportunities. Trincao had a very quiet game on the day. I felt the same thing about Jimenez as well. Jimenez does not seem willing to get into the box anymore. In the past, maybe Jimenez may have given Adama 3 assists on the day, but now he's not even willing to get into the box and get his head on the end of any of those crosses. So for now, Wolves' attack is definitely not something that I'll be looking to target. I know that the players are pretty cheap, but I think they're cheap for good reason here. The only guy that I would look at is Hwang. I think when Hwang came on, he looked pretty well. He managed to get a few shots off, and we know that in the last game he came on and scored as well. At some point, he needs to take Trincao's spot, and when he does do that, for 5.5, I think Hwang could be a very good option to go forth with. He has end product, he's a good dribbler, and he loves to score goals. So yeah, I think that guy could be a good one to target. But for now, definitely not. He's not starting. Burnley versus Arsenal. Yeah, that's Arsenal's second clean sheet in a row now. Managed to keep Burnley at bay, even though it was a little bit lucky. Aaron Ramsdale almost gave away a penalty, but VAR came to the rescue and kept my clean sheet intact. For Arsenal, I think some of the guys that we could be targeting definitely would be the defenders. You're looking at Tomiyasu, Ben White, and even Ramsdale if you want to try and take a punt there. I'm not sure if he's the number one right now, but he started 2 games in a row, so that's a very, very healthy sign. In terms of Burnley, not looking too good. I felt like the defense was not too good on the day. The attack, I mean, it's always the same thing with Burnley. I just don't think we're going to be targeting any of Burnley's players, unfortunately. And for Arsenal's attack, it's not something that I'll be looking to target either. The only guy that I might be interested in is Bukayo Saka. I know he got an assist on the day, but all he did was really win a foul that Odegaard scored from the free kick. I think Saka is always very involved though, and for the price, I think it's a good one to target. I definitely won't be looking at someone like Aubameyang. I think that's just too expensive for a guy that's not scoring much these days. I think Odegaard doesn't get on the ball enough. I want to say the same thing about Smith Rowe. These guys just aren't involved enough for me to go ahead and bring them into my team. And yeah, I have to say the same thing for y'all. I don't expect y'all to go and get these guys in your team either. Okay, moving on to Liverpool versus Crystal Palace. Yeah, it was just business for Liverpool on the day. They look so comfortable in that game. And Crystal Palace did not have a bad game. It's just that Liverpool is a machine right now. I would target Liverpool on both ends, attacking and defensively. I think they're good on both sides. We saw Tsimikas started on the day and managed to keep a clean sheet. He got himself a yellow card as well though. But for those that still have Tsimikas, I'm sure you're all happy about that. Jota blanked for the second time in a row, so I'm not sure what's going on with Jota right now. Yeah, not too sure what's going on with Jota right now. He had probably the easiest chance of the game, and he threw that away. Salah and Mane combined for a couple goals, meaning that Salah took a shot, it got deflected, Mane put it in, and then vice versa. Someone took a shot that was deflected and Salah got there on the rebound. One final thing to note about Liverpool, aside from targeting the obvious players, the Trent, the Robertson, Salah, Mane, even Jota still, is that I think Thiago started really good for Liverpool this season. For all the hate that I gave him last season, he's really been on it this season and has made a really positive impact to the team. And he managed to get injured as he does on the day. So I'm not so sure how Liverpool are going to look going forward without Thiago. It's just something that we're going to have to wait and see. Personally, I think they should be okay. They have some good, easy games coming up. The next one is against Brentford. Should be fine. They should be okay without Thiago. I'm not even sure how long that injury is going to last, but it is something that we're going to have to wait and see what happens. Crystal Palace, however, yeah, they play good on the day. I definitely won't target that defense. I mean, they've been conceding just goals on goals on goals these days. The only guy that I would really look at right now is not even Wolf Zaha, but it is Hudson Edouard. I think if he manages to secure that number 9 position, which he should really soon, I think he's going to get a decent amount of goals, especially for that price point in the Premier League. And yeah, as a cheap striker, I think he'll definitely be with, I think it's 6.5 that they priced him at. He'll definitely be with that if he starts like securing that starting position. So it's something we're just going to have to wait and see, but I predict that if he's able to start consistently, he's going to be a good one to have. Now Manchester City into versus Southampton. It was a pretty boring game. Manchester City are, without a doubt, statistically the best defense in the league right now. I think they've only conceded like 8 shots in the box, conceded 1 goal in the first 5 games. It's looking pretty good for City right now. And the good thing too is that Pep has shown that he's willing to start certain players consistently. Those 2 players are Jack Grealish and Joao Cancelo. So let's start off with Jack Grealish now. I think that he, for the future, could be a very good one to own. He's only 8 million right now, or maybe 8.1, but the ball goes to him a lot, and he's a chance creation machine. Now, using the word a lot kind of selectively here, because in City, there's no main man that gets the ball all the time. There's no talisman per se. But Jack Grealish gets the ball a lot more than the other attackers, I should say. Maybe they favor his side a little bit more. Maybe it's the fact that he's 100 million. So they just say, we gotta squeeze every ounce of quality out of this guy and squeeze every minute we can out of him. And that's something they're definitely doing right now. I think Jack Grealish has been a very bright spark to that Manchester City attack. And I expect him to get a lot of assists in the future. And hopefully some goals as well. He is a chance creation machine, and that's exactly what we're seeing for City. I think he may have created the most chances against Southampton on the day. And that's not surprising. I don't think he had any shots on the day, but he had a lot of crosses into the box that were pretty good crosses as well. He's definitely someone that I will be looking to target. And on the defensive end now, Joao Cancelo, simply for the fact that he's starting all the time. So if he's starting all the time, and I just told you all that this is the best defense in the league, and there are some nice games coming up, then it all points towards one direction, you know. So yeah, I think Cancelo is a very good one to get from all now, maybe. Actually, the next game is against Chelsea. Okay, so maybe after the Chelsea game, we could go ahead and start looking at Cancelo. Maybe even on the wild card if you all still have that. But yeah, I think Cancelo is a good option to have for the future. I think he's going to continue starting, especially with Mendy being out of the squad right now, suspended for allegations that we're not going to talk about. But yeah, I think Cancelo is a good one to have. And aside from being part of the best defense in the league, he's a very capable attacking player as well. So, I mean, we saw what he was able to do last season in terms of attacking returns. I think he should be able to replicate that again this season. So yeah, Cancelo, definitely one to look at. And then finally, Southampton. I know they managed to keep a clean sheet on the day. I'm still not too convinced on that defense though. Liverpool is the only person that I would go at, and that's only because he's 4.2 mil. So it's just some good bench fodder at that point. But yeah, I'm not really going to be targeting anyone from Southampton right now. Moving on, we have Norwich versus Watford. This is a very interesting game because the fact that Norwich and Watford were 2 of the best teams coming from the Championship last season, I thought that this was going to be a fairly even game. I understand that Norwich started the season horribly, but I thought that going up against a team that they're more accustomed to playing against, coming from the Championship, that they would have done okay, and I thought this was going to be a close game. But I was wrong. Ismail Assar on the day scored twice. Perhaps he's someone that I have been wrong about as well. I know he's a very good player, it's just that he's playing in a bad team, and a team that has not shown the willingness to invest in their squad. So I thought Watford was going to have a very bad time in the Premier League this time. And yeah, I thought that was going to translate to a bad season for Ismail Assar too, or at least a season where he underperforms. I know he's a very good player, but in terms of FPL, I thought that he just wasn't going to get much goals and assists because of the team that he's playing with. But yeah, I was wrong. He has like 3 goals for the season so far and 1 assist, so he's doing pretty well. He scored 2 against Norwich. What does that tell me? It tells me that Norwich is possibly the worst defense in this league, confirmed. Maybe the worst team in the league, confirmed. So yeah, I'll definitely be targeting players that go up against Norwich. They could be captains maybe every single time. So that's definitely something to look out for. Aside from that, there's not much really else left to report in this game. And we can move on to Aston Villa versus Everton, which is a result that I did not expect to see coming. 3-0 for Aston Villa. Leon Bailey getting the man of the match on the day. In a game where he was subbed on and then subbed back off for injury, still managed to win the man of the match. So that's insane to me, but that's just how good he played on the day. Everton managed to shock us with some injuries here that we just did not see coming. Richarlison was injured, Pickford was injured, and Seamus Coleman was injured. That's 3 players that I did not expect to see not even included in the squad. So that was surprising to me. Some of us were actually targeting Richarlison for next weekend game against Norwich. That is no longer an option right now. Richarlison is out for at least 3 to 4 weeks. But Aston Villa looked pretty good on the day, especially in the second half, especially when Leon Bailey came on. So, yeah, we could be targeting some players from Aston Villa. Their fixtures turn a little bit later on. I think in the 9th and 10th game week is where their fixtures turn to be a bit more positive. And some of the players we could look at, would be Leon Bailey, the man himself, as long as he could keep himself fit. Danny Ings, who is the talisman, who should be on the penalties, who should be scoring a lot of goals this season. I think once they have easier games, he's going to do a lot better. But yeah, that's it for the players that I would attack from Aston Villa. And in terms of Everton, I don't think this changes much. I think it's just one bad result, but it shouldn't change our minds too much. If you already have the Gray, you should keep him. If you don't have him, okay, maybe you hold off a little bit, but the next game is against Norwich, so you should be able to score there as well. So maybe the Gray and Andrews Townsend are people that you can still bring in. I thought Townsend played better than Gray on the day. Felt like the ball goes to him a lot more and he has a lot more potential to get assists. That being said though, if Rondon wasn't so damn slow, Gray would have actually had an assist on the day. He played a very good ball to Rondon that he just couldn't get on the end of, and that's just so sad because it would have been a tapping, like, easy goal. Alright, moving on to Brighton versus Leicester. Not too much to really say in this game here. I felt like it was a boring game almost. Brighton, yeah, I've been saying it all this time, they're a good defense. They managed to keep Leicester down to just 1 goal, which came in the second half after they were already 2-0 up. I think Leicester ain't really stating much right now, and I won't be too keen to go after any Leicester players. Leicester is probably one of the worst defenses in the league right now, statistically speaking. When I say that, I mean in terms of goals conceded, shots in the box conceded, XG against, all those other good stuff. Yeah, it's just not looking too good for Leicester right now, and that could be a defense that we start targeting as well for teams that go up against Leicester. But that's all I really have to say for that game. There's no Brighton attacker that I'd really interested in right now. I think Brighton are pretty off and on in terms of the attack, but the defense looks pretty solid. So if you have Robert Sanchez, he's definitely someone I would look to keep, and I'd probably keep him instead of Aaron Ramsdale as well. That's just my opinion on that. 2 more games left now. We have West Ham versus Manchester United. I almost said the GOAT, but Ronaldo went ahead and scored again. And listen, I'm going to spend this whole time just talking about Ronaldo here because I think we need to understand the caliber of player that we're dealing with. I looked at the game and I felt as though this is probably one of the hungriest players I've ever seen this season to score goals. Every time he gets on the ball, everything he does actually revolves around scoring goals. And I'm so glad that he's in the league now and I get to watch him play weekend after weekend after weekend, so I can kind of understand exactly what's going on. Because the last time that I've seen Ronaldo play every weekend, if we're being honest, was when he was playing for Madrid. That's back when I used to watch La Liga a lot more, and I would watch Real Madrid games every weekend. I'm not a Madrid fan, but just wanted to see Ronaldo play. And yeah, it's really nice to have him back in the league, and it's nice to be able to see him play every weekend, because Lord knows I wasn't watching Juventus games. That league is very boring, in my opinion. Everything that this guy does revolves around scoring goals. His movement is elite. His mentality is elite. Every time he gets on the ball, it looks as though, oh shit, this man could actually just go ahead and score. His ability to score at range is so frightening. In the box, he's so shifty right now as well. Like, he doesn't even look slow. Even though he's 36 years old, he's still hitting 2-3 step overs and then making an angle to shoot. It's ridiculous. I think Ronaldo might actually be fixture proof. If you have him, I know that the plan for a lot of us may have been to sell him around game week 7 and 8. But it might just be worth a while to keep him, because the way this guy is playing and his hunger and determination to score goals, I could see him scoring against any team at the moment. There's honestly no team that I think is going to keep him out of the score sheet. And yeah, that's just my humble opinion about Ronaldo. Again, not a Ronaldo fan by any means, but I'm just telling you all what I see in here. So yeah, I wanted to take the whole time about this game to talk just about Ronaldo, because it's going to be a very important decision to make whether we sell him or keep him. His price continues to go up as well, so that's another thing to keep in consideration. And at the moment, I might have to say there's no reason to sell him. Like, he's scoring against everybody, so maybe we just go ahead and keep him. And then finally, Tottenham versus Chelsea. Look, 3-0 is a little harsh to Tottenham because the first half was really good in terms of from a Tottenham standpoint. But yeah, Chelsea just came back. Tuchel made one little tweak in the second half, which was to bring on N'Golo Kante for Mason Mount. I think Mount was injured anyway, but he brought on another defensive midfielder to regain control of that midfield, because Tottenham had control of the midfield prior to that substitution. And then yeah, it was just business for Chelsea. It's unfortunate that Lukaku couldn't score on the day, but I felt like Lukaku played really good as well. To compare him to Ronaldo, I think the comparison right now is pretty close. There are two different types of players, but that determination to score goals, it's there for both of them. I think Lukaku on the day was a little unlucky not to score. He had a header in the last minutes of the game that, had he put that anywhere but straight at Lloris, it would be another 6-point game for Lukaku. But I mean, so the thing does go, you know. You can't score in every game. I don't expect Ronaldo to score in every game as well. But I think these two guys may be essential. Okay. I personally was going for one or the other, but for the people that have both of them right now, I think that may have been the way to go. At least that's how it looks these days. And yeah, maybe you should just keep both of them instead of moving on from Ronaldo in the near future. Aside from that, I think Chelsea was brilliant. They keeping clean sheets. I think they're going to continue to do that for a long time now. Some of the guys that you could target from Chelsea are going to be Reece James, Lukaku, Rudiger and Alonso. So no surprise there that it's only one attacker and 3 defenders. Chelsea is probably the best defense in the league. That's just from the eye test. They look, in my opinion, more solid than Manchester City's defense, but the statistics show otherwise. That's about all I have to say for Chelsea, and that actually brings us to the end of this episode. I get that this might have been a boring episode, and I apologize for that. Been a little bit busy these days, but I'm going to try to pick it up from Thursday. So hopefully you get to see a more energetic version of me on Thursday, and hopefully I can give you all some better advice as well. Okay, but for now, this is the end of this episode. Please do the usual thing, like the video, share the video to your friends, subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed already, and please drop a comment. I've been waiting for my first comment. Please put a comment down there. Just ask me a question, or just say good job, or just say, you're talking real shit today, or whatever you want it. It's fine. But yeah, drop a comment now. Aside from that, I'll see you all again on Tuesday, okay? And thanks a lot for coming out. See ya.